Okay, now from this point on, I am basically watching right along with you, and it's been a long period of time since I have watched this. This was a 4 hour recording on DVD, so I am trying to limit as much as what I can in what I am sharing with you. One of my memories from when I was a child back in the 70s was the factor of how there was an increase in reported missing persons. And most of them kind of went unobserved, if you will. But at one point in time, we had milk that came out in cardboard cartons, and on the side of those milk cartons would be advertisements of "Have you seen me?" which were basically photos and information about persons missing. A good majority of these people that were missing were claimed to be runaways or homeless people of a younger age, and which there was a reported number of close to 250,000 persons that were missing. And this was in a very short period of time. And supposedly a lot of children were taken to the Montauk facility and elsewhere for participation within experiments conducted. And this would have been from your 1968 to early 70s, and then I believe as well as in a period of time in the early 80s, in which mind control is a little off from what I was wanting to present in form of the time travel aspect. But it does play a part because of how these children, through mind control, were able to expand their imagination to the level of being able to open portals, okay, and also to be able to heighten the functionality of time travel and the like. And so we're going to continue on with this right here. And like I said, I am watching this with you, so I am going to try to limit this as I stated and go from there. So let's go ahead and continue on, and I will be speeding this up.
Yeah, about 69, 70, 71, somewhere in there.
Each one went from basically World War
48 to 68.
to 68.
Now, essentially, the first part of the mind control project was to take an individual, such as Duncan here, stand them maybe 250 feet away from that antenna. As I was starting to go into what the SAGE radar is capable of, the SAGE radar had a peak pulse power of a half a megawatt. That's in the antenna. The antenna had a gain of 30 dB. So that means you're a megawatt. It has a peak pulse power, effective radiated power of at least a gigawatt. This is nominally a gigawatt. Can you imagine what that would do to people? I think it's amazing that the people are still here today that have been hit with this.
And think of 5G.
Burnout brains, function, neurological damage. And you look inside of a person's lung that has this done that look like the vulnerable scar from the heat generated, and just goes on and on with physical damage done to the body by this sort of thing. They tried this with a number of people, a few survivors, in this sort of thing.
But they were the volunteers for this.
They were just grabbing indigenous people off the street and throwing in front of the radar beam, and let's see what happens. Yeah, that's the sort of nonsense that the government loves to do.
So, who was in charge of the project at this time? It was covered.
Mr. Jack Pruitt was in charge. All right.
Along with Dr. John Van Orn.
Anybody with agency?
I'm not sure what the agency was. Now, somebody got the brilliant idea, upon the urging of the different people. They got the idea. We're not sure who came up with this idea first. The signal they really want goes through the reflector. Let's take the big banana peel, that's what's called a reflector, turn around 180 degrees, and put the subjects directly in line with the game point feeding the antenna. Lo and behold, they got the results and then burned the people up. The poor bastards survived and they hit them with this signal. But they found out by varying the phase modulation the frequency hopping and the pulsing of the multiple stages. That they can have profound effects on a person's mind.
Can you describe something?
I think these two gentlemen here could describe it much better than I can. But let's not go into that at this point. Yeah, why not? Let's at this point break from the technical description of the first, what you consider to be the real mind control work that they have done that was successful. Let's go into some of the effects. Mr. Bailick and Mr. Cameron, I think, can do more on this than I can.
That was the goal, the mind control of this whole project.
That was the starter goal.
That was the first goal.
Yeah. How many people more or less working on it altogether in the base? Approximately.
Around 30.
About 30. Who authorized them to go on one base? Who authorized them use of the base?
The Air Force. The Air Force and the Navy.
Air Force and Navy? In conjunction? The Air Force and Navy work together?
Yep. This was a joint project. It was both Navy personnel and the Air Force personnel.
Yeah.
We even have copies of the orders with the Air Force personnel.
What was the cover story for the base? They must have had something.
They had none.
Yeah.
It was a derelict base
It was abandoned. It was turned over to GSA as surplus
in 1970.
around 69-70 when they shut down all the stage radar systems. In other words, there was a non-existent operation. There was no government coverage for it. There was no government payment. There was a surplus base which allegedly had nothing on it. So it was the perfect cover.
Where did they get the funding?
It's totally private.
Yep.
Private corporations?
Essentially.
It didn't originally come from corporations. It did in the later phases. The original money came from the Nazis, the Nazi government. In 1944, there was a
That was Phoenix War.
No, this
No, that wasn't
Phoenix 1. This is Phoenix 2 and Phoenix 3.
Yep.
In 1944, there was a American troop train that went through a French railroad tunnel carrying $10 billion in Nazi gold, which they found. This has been documented in a movie on the old Patton scenario, which this train was dynamited in the tunnel, killed 51 GIs. Of course, Patton, who was then in Europe, decided he had to investigate this. He couldn't understand how an American troop train in the Western Territory was dynamited in a French railroad tunnel. And he was concerned about the loss of 51 GIs. And also, as it turned out, $10 billion in gold disappeared. That was $10 billion in the valuation of the then existing European prices of $20 per ounce, not 400. The gold disappeared. It turned up 10 years later in the U.S. at Montauk. This has been verified since. And that money, that gold was used to finance the project initially. And for many years, because the value went up, as the value of gold went up, to approximately 100 billion plus. They spent all of it and ran out of money.
That's when they tapped ITT.
And that's when they tapped ITT, who then from that point on funded it because ITT was owned by a certain German group known as the Krupps.
Okay.
And that was again the same Nazi connection. Now in terms of personnel, many of the scientists, the civilian people and scientists there, are all ex-Nazis who came from Nazi Germany, either after the war was over with Werner von Braun, or was snuck in before the war, as was Dr. Unterman and a few others. But the whole thing was basically a civilian project run by the Nazis with a U.S. government surveillance, you might say. The intelligence community knew what was going on. The CIA monitored everything, as well as probably did well other government intelligence agencies. But the field of players, if you will, those who actually operated on the base was small, 30 to 50. And the funding was entirely private. At a very later stage, after the whole thing was over, then, after 83, there was an investigation started by a certain senator from Arizona, I think his name was Goldwater. They couldn't find any trace of government funding, no government oversight committees, no payments of money of any kind, no appropriations, nothing. They went absolutely bananas trying to figure out how a project of that magnitude and that scope could have been funded, but there was no government money.
Even the senator would like to know.
That's right. The Pruitt was Air Force. He was an Air Force colonel.
How'd you get Air Force personnel or something to a derelict base?
Right. Pruitt had his office in the Pentagon. I found that out through other connections. And he was the basic director through the whole of Phoenix 2 and 3, though actually they had two directors. They had the so-called psychic metaphysical director, which was Pruitt, and they had a hardware electronics director, who was originally Dr. Van Neumann. And after he left, Dr. Unterman took over, Hermann C. Unterman from Germany. And they also had an electronics expert who, for most of the period of time, was a Dr. Matthew Lee Zarrett, who came in with Werner von Braun in 46. In fact, I had to study the man, strangely enough, in New York College of Engineering in New Jersey. He was my college professor. And I didn't know a thing about his connections or his background or whether he could come from Germany. Lo and behold, he turns up there. Private funding all the way until, well, actually 100%. Until it was over, there was still private funding through ITT.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
The government never spent a cent on it.
The gold, I think, ran until about 78.
Approximately that.
That heavily years, about 78, 79.
One of the reasons why they ran out of money was the fact that there was not eventually not one base, but 25. Full stage bases, 25 of them, were utilized for the same program. They were running in parallel. And eventually they shut down until the end, I believe. That is the info we have, is there were only 3 still operational. They were tied together by satellite.
But they shut down quite late in the program.
Yeah.
How recently were they operating? When did they finally shut down?
The last of them shut down August 12, 1983.
That was Montauk.
And that was Montauk. Well, they went down and shut the other 2.
Okay, so that was a real quick rundown over that. We will pick up on the next episode. So please continue to watch and maybe learn a couple of things. Thank you.